So, day 4 already of week 2, and we're going to look at the importance of cardiovascular and respiratory health. So, in this session, we're going to go over some key points, both about what cardiovascular health and respiratory health mean, and then how we can improve them, and also the benefits of improving them. So I think we can all understand that having a healthy heart and set of lungs is fundamental to our enjoyment of life. If either of those systems don't work properly, you will notice it just walking up and down the stairs, carrying shopping, playing with the dog, playing with kids. All of those things will be heavily impacted, let alone doing things that you need to optimize your health long term, like exercising and strength training. But having a healthy heart and set of lungs is also great for reducing the long-term chances of dying. It reduces the chances of death by heart disease by 25%. That is the leading cause of death globally. It reduces the chances of having a stroke as you get older by 25%, the second leading cause of death globally. It also helps to mitigate some of the impact of COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is the third leading cause of death globally. And that is caused by exposure to tobacco smoke, either first or second hand. And just by having some strength training and cardiovascular exercise routines, you can strengthen your lungs and strengthen your heart to make sure that doesn't impact as much as it would somebody who doesn't work out. Also, doing those things will reduce the chances of asthma taking a hold. So by 70%, having an asthma attack is reduced if you carry out regular exercise that trains your cardiovascular and respiratory systems. So when we talk about cardiovascular health, we don't just mean the heart, we also mean the system that is attached to it. So all of the blood vessels, the arteries, capillaries, veins, everything that the blood passes through. That system should be nice and flexible. It should be able to relax sometimes when the blood pressure increases or constrict when the blood pressure drops to make sure that blood is properly being able to get to all the extremities in the body. Blood is not just about passing oxygen and carbon dioxide around your body. It's also a passage for nutrients and hormones. And if those aren't getting to the right places, so for instance, protein in the form of amino acids being taken to your muscles for repair and growth, if that isn't happening, those muscles will not repair and grow. So it is vital that all works well. We need to have a flexible cardiovascular system that can relax. So when we're sleeping, it might drop down to say 50 to 60 beats per minute. At rest, it might be 70, and then it will increase up much higher when you are undergoing strenuous activity. It needs to be flexible. It needs to be able to cope with that and to make sure that the blood is being pushed out without putting too much extra strain on the heart. Respiratory health is not just about our lungs. It's also about the airways and the muscles that help us to breathe, be it the diaphragm or the muscles in our ribs that help us to open and close our rib cage. All of those things impact. So if the airways aren't open enough, we don't get enough oxygen in and we can't expel carbon dioxide quick enough. And if the lungs aren't in a good state and if there's stuff in there, again, the gaseous exchange doesn't happen quick enough. So we might need to take more breaths in order to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in our blood. It is key that all of these things work together effectively to support the cardiovascular system to make sure that our body is functioning well when we are training hard. So the two systems work very closely together to make sure that we are delivering oxygen to all the extremities of the body, all the muscles that are working hard, but we're also delivering things like glucose in the blood or nutrients, other nutrients like amino acids, protein, or hormones, things like adrenaline, testosterone. They are being passed around the body through the blood. We then need to make sure that we're getting rid of metabolites and things like carbon dioxide, which can build up in the body and need to be removed before they do damage. The more we train this system, the better we get at enhancing the amount of oxygen that we can deliver to muscles under strain, as well as ensuring that we are quick to get rid of these metabolites. There's a real enhancement that you'll see after training for a while, with not only your capacity to train at a high intensity and to keep that going, but also you'll notice that your recovery will increase. You'll be able to drop from a high heart rate to a lower heart rate, a normal heart rate, much quicker, and your body, you'll be able to catch your breath because the oxygen will be resupplied to the muscles that have been using it very quickly. So the first thing I think you need to do is to track where you currently are. So whether that's understanding what your resting heart rate is, what your heart rate at intense exercises, what your heart rate recovery time is like, but also looking at how many breaths per minute you take. So that could be what your resting breaths per minute are versus your breaths per minute during intense exercise. A lot of those can be done manually, but fitness trackers are really useful because they will measure a lot of these things just in the background. So you'll be able to see, without actually trying, how things like your heart rate variability are changing over time, or what your resting heart rate does, and how that will increase while you start exercising, what your max heart rate is, and also how quickly that recovers when you finish exercising. So I think to get some kind of device that tracks those is vital. One measure that is really essential from my point of view is VO2 max, and this is the amount of oxygen your body can utilize at any one time, and this has a lot of impact on not only your performance but also your endurance, how long you can keep up intense exercise for. Most smart watches will track this, most fitness devices will track this if they're attached to your body. And you'll be able to tell whether you're average, above average, below average, but also trends over time. And you find that if you start regularly exercising and doing cardiovascular work, you will see an improvement in your VO2 max. And if you don't, then you need to increase the intensity of the exercise that you're doing. So the government recommends 150 minutes of moderate exercise or 75 minutes of very intense exercise, or a combination of the two, per week. So that can include things like running, jogging, cycling, rowing, but also things like high intensity interval training, HIIT classes. So if you find things that you like doing, say body combat, that will all contribute to this weekly target. You can also spend some time practicing breathing techniques, because that will allow you to strengthen the muscles in your chest and your diaphragm, and that will help. You'll find that you'll get an improvement there as well. And just generally maintaining a healthy lifestyle, making sure you're eating correctly, you're having enough hydration and water, you're making sure that you are sleeping 7 to 8 hours, and you're getting the nutrients, and also avoiding things like tobacco and other pollutants in the air, because they will all have an impact on that system. So in summary, it's just remembering that there's always a balance to be had. You can go all in on strength training and miss out on the benefits of cardio, or you can go all in on cardio and miss out on the benefits of strength training. And each one feeds into the other. It's nice and like a nice little loop. So if you spend some time developing your muscles, you'll find that you'll actually be able to, say, run faster. And once you run faster, you will improve your cardiovascular system and your respiratory system, and that will then allow you to lift heavier because your body is able to get more oxygen in quickly to push. So focus on getting that balance right. Focus on training both systems, and you will see massive gains. And this will not only increase your quality of life today, but also in the future as you get older. See you next time.